Hi viewers, I'd want to welcome you to my YouTube channel today, Discovery Africa TV. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending the time you're watching this video. Probably you're watching it in the morning, in the afternoon, or evening, or whatever time of the geography you're watching from, probably within Nigeria, any state in Nigeria you're watching this video from, or outside of the country, Nigeria. So, I know a number of you is already familiar with all of what is going on, the saga in the House of Senate between a distinguished Senator Natasha and distinguished Senate President Akpabio. Now, for some time, a number of people has actually been demanding for the evidence that Natasha said she has. Probably is just mere saying, or she's just saying this just to make Akpabio scared and afraid and all of that. But even some people at the other hand says that Natasha shouldn't have actually said something like this or actually draw this case to this extent, because Godswill Akpabio is not someone you can draw down. Godswill Akpabio is someone powerful than you politically, in terms of influence, in terms of connection, not this time that is now the current Senate president. You understand? So yesterday, 5th of March 2025, she finally came to the House of Senate to present her evidence. Yes, a petition to the House. But something funny happened. Godswill Akpabio rejected it, and alongside other things that happened, other senators came out and started, saying several things against Natasha. That is to tell you that a number of them are not happy about it. A number of them actually, they are friends. They are friends to Godswill Akpabio, so they would want to defend Godswill Akpabio and fight for the interests of Godswill Akpabio. You need to know that all of this issue on ground, if it actually went in favor, or if at the end of the day it went in the favor of Senator Natasha, this is a threat to the political career of Godswill Akpabio. Is either is suspended or if removed from the Senate, and gradually his political career may die down. So this time around, another issue actually busted again on Channels TV. This time around, it's not even about Godswill Akpabio or Natasha. It's about justice. It's about fight for the women. It's about freedom of speech. It's about freedom of expression. Because some people are like, if Natasha is not given the opportunity to express herself like this, who am I? You understand? if a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria couldn't, be given that opportunity for her to express herself and all of what she's saying, so who am I, an ordinary citizen? So this time around, there was this particular senator that actually came to Channels TV again. Him and Akpabio, they battled all of the issue together with one woman. While the woman was fighting for the interest of women generally, but this senator kept insisting on something else entirely. So guys, I'll leave you to the rest of the video, because it wasn't a funny moment at all between the senator and the woman, you understand, that almost want to turn to a fight and argument and all of that. Mind you, some of these senators we are talking about, some of them have their wife at home, and they will not want something like this to happen to their wife. So this is all about fight for the women, fight for justice, and fight for integrity. So guys, I'll leave you to the rest of the video. This is Discovery Africa TV. God bless Nigeria and God bless Africa. The labor of our hero past will never be in vain. Peace.
It does look like from some people who are watching on the sideline that there is an orchestrated move against the women folk and that there is a dislike, a distasteful handling of the matter by the men folk in the National Assembly. Could there have been a better way to handle these things by the men folk in the National Assembly, so it doesn't look like there is a hit for women who are in power or who are in governance or in politics?
In fact, this is very bewildering. I was watching all the clips. It's quite very sickening, and it's omnipotently pathetic that this is where we are, and then the leadership of especially the first arm of government, which is the legislature. When I saw my colleague's sister entering with a kiss, it made me look back at when we were acting all this kind of entertainment stage theaters while in the primary school. That is this where we are still? Very unthinkable, very unspeakable, but don't let me go there. Now, about women folk.
So you didn't like the fact that the husband came with her? in solidarity, in
to
support.
plenary.
That was not plenary. That was a company.
Yes, it's very close to the plenary for a case over what? And internal affairs, internal matters in the Senate, and for whatever reason, like our colleague accused.
Is there anything wrong with what has happened between the husband and the senator?
When we say anything wrong or not wrong, then we talk about legality or illegality. It is not illegal, but it is socially, morally, and politically wrong. But it is not illegal. So it doesn't mean that all legal things are very good for adults to act. Like I said initially, I said this is just an episode of content creation. And then the content has been created. That is part of the skits in the content being created by our colleague. And then the whole thing is trendy. But don't let us even go there. Let us talk about what you even raised about women folk. Because now are we saying that law must not be obeyed anymore? Are we saying when one of us, either a man or a woman, breaches the law, we should overlook it so that we will not be accused of insensitivity to gender matters? Are we saying that? Now we are talking about the egregious breach, infractions against the rules of the Senate, against the orders of the Senate. We know what order 6 stipulated, and today, surprisingly, where our sister said she would not take that over her dead body, she would never go to the other seat. She was there where she raised her point of order to present a petition to the Senate today. Why was she there today? It means that she now knew that Order 6 was supposed to be obeyed. It means that what happened on February 20 was a serious, omnipotent, and very powerful infraction against the rules of the Senate.
Which is,
yes,
she not wanting to sit
where she was allocated.
She claimed that she was not properly communicated to.
No. What is the proper mode of communication? The proper mode of communication when your seat is changed in the Senate is that once the presiding officer says that this is where you are going to sit, then the sergeant at arms is communicated to. And the sergeant at arms will communicate to the said affected senators or senator, which the sergeant at arms did today at the committee where the ethics, privilege,
in what mode,
and the public petition was meeting.
In what mode was that communicated?
Was there.
Was it just verbally? Senator?
Yes, they have to. They don't have to write letters.
There's no email.
No. That is not. It is never prescribed for.
Like the senator just came to the plenary and discovered.
Before you get to the plenary, the sergeant at arms will get across to you, and that is the duty of the sergeant at arms. And the sergeant at arms today averred that he adequately communicated with our colleague.
Was there an evidence to that?
The sergeant at arms was there.
It was verbal.
He was there.
Does it raise a question about the procedure? Just for a moment, sir.
No. There's no.
Just for a moment, sir. Does it? Just for a moment, sir. Just for a moment, sir.
No. Let me tell you.
Just for a moment, sir. Just let me ask. Let me ask you a question.
Ask.
Your institution, the Senate, is an institution of record.
Yes.
Anything that you do, goes into record, and it's officially taken.
Yes.
Does it mean that perhaps there need to be a rethinking of the procedure in the Senate, such that if it's a verbal communication to change the sitting of lawmakers?
Ogashin, let me tell you something. This Fourth Republic started 1999, and there had been a Senate, and that they had always been a practice, which is reflected in our orders. That is standing rules in our orders. Now, it is not 26 years after, when Senator Natasha came on board, that those orders will be rubbished and changed because of her. And now, let me now go to what really happened. You know, when a seat is changed, the sergeant at arms is notified by the presiding officer. And once the sergeant at arms is notified, the sergeant at arms will communicate by calling that senator. And then our own sister senator came almost 30 minutes before the plenary of that day, and she saw. And she had already been informed. That's why she came earlier. She had never been as early as that. She came earlier, and she was again informed. And when she got there were about 4 senators whose seats were changed, and she flung that inscription of her name. She removed it, flung it off, and then started reading causes and abuses even before the plenary. So she was already waiting for that plenary, and then she did not even move to the seat that was allocated to her. She sat on the previous seat. The person that was supposed to sit there could not even find a seat to sit. And then she raised a point of order. And then the chief whip, who is supposed to maintain decorum, now raised up his hand that the senator is not properly seated. And until you are properly seated, according to Order 6.2, Order 6B of our standing rules, that you cannot make contribution. Either it is on privileges, it is on rights, or it is on anything. You cannot make any contribution. So she was prevented from making contribution. And then when you are prevented from making contribution, you were still shouting. She was still shouting. It was the prerogative. It is there in our order that the presiding officer can order you out. But instead of the presiding officer ordering her out, other senators prevailed over the presiding officer, that's the Senate president, that he should not do that. So she was given the opportunity to even sit down on the wrong seat throughout the sitting of that day. So after that, like I said, you cannot ask for point of order when you are not in order. You cannot say you can talk from anywhere. If that is possible, Senator, then it means that we are going to have a session of anomy. It means that a senator will be at the market.
Let me ask you.
Market. Sorry. I'll be raising up his hand.
Yeah, Senator,
that he or she wants to contribute.
Senator, is it the first time in the Senate that every senator are well seated in their chairs that are allocated to them?
Yes.
Every time?
Yes, every time.
You can put videos up where lawmakers...
If you sit where you are not allocated, you cannot contribute.
But
you cannot contribute.
Do you remember a scenario? I'll show you the videos.
Either by error of omission or commission.
Yeah.
There's a seat labeled Yemi Adarabodu, and then Sheyi Okumbaloye sits down there. Maybe if I'm not in the plenary that day, you cannot raise your hand, and then you'll be recognized to speak.
And that's what at the discretion of the presiding officer.
It's not even discretionary. That one is point blank. That is Order 6.
Because we see your colleagues speaking without being in their seat.
There's no way.
So, Senator, do you remember your presiding officer right now in the 8th Senate?
Yeah.
When he was not a Senate president, and I'll show you video. And in fact, it was about when Bukola Saraki was Senate president.
What was the reason then? Let us state it. What was the reason?
And this was the scenario.
What was the reason? I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've watched it. I've watched the snippets. What was the reason? The reason was that because the gadgets there are not working, are not audible. And then there's no senator or a legislator who sit down where he or she is not going to be heard, not going to be seen, but not going to be heard. If you are within the press fit of the chambers, you'll be seen. Then you are supposed to be heard. And then the only reason why you cannot be heard is if the gadgets are not working. And you have that point of duty. You owe it to yourself and even to the Senate to raise up your hands and vehemently protest that, look, where I am, I accept to be here, but I cannot talk. I cannot speak. Nobody will hear me.
So, I mean, it's interesting that this is causing... When Senator Godswill Akpabio, and this is just for a moment, Senator, when Senator Godswill Akpabio did this in the 8th Senate under the Bukola Saraki Senate presidency, there are those who thought that the agitation by Senator Godswill Akpabio was right because he was not comfortable and there was an agitation from him and there was some kind of commotion on the floor. And it was all right to do so at the time. But when Senator Natasha Akpotudwagan raised... just for a moment, Senator, you might be aggrieved about your sitting for different reasons.
For different reasons.
But the question is that, can she be vilified because she's not happy about her sitting?
Now, let me tell you something. Why vilification, the issue of vilification does not even arise at all. Because there's order, there are rules. First of all, if you get to where you are seated and you find out that some things are wrong there, you can now raise your voice that no, this place, the gadgets are not working. Because some other senators had sat on that seat before. They only moved you because some people have already removed themselves because they defected to the APC. So definitely what you are supposed to do is that if you get there and find out that, oh, this place, I cannot talk there because the gadgets is not working, then you can raise your voice.
So let me
you can say no.
Senator,
but
yeah.
if it is ordinarily that they have changed my seat and all the gadgets are working, you cannot just say,
Senator,
because senators are bound to
was
sit
the ethics,
where you are rejecting.
Was the ethics committee aware of the case in court before sitting today?
My brother Ogashe, you are a journalist, well educated, well informed, and I know you are a lawyer, learned. The legislature has its rules, especially within the president of the chamber, and members of the legislature enjoys absolute privilege if they are within the chambers, not the plenary. You know that one. That anything done, said, not the plenary, within the chambers is not actionable. That is number one. Number two is that, are you telling me that, let us say there's a court session, can the legislature now legislate that judiciary must not entertain it? No. We have our rules. We have our an arrangement within internally, within the chambers, within the plenary that we are dealing with. Is it possible that when we have started on a matter that you now rush to court and say you are restraining? For example, for us in the National Assembly and the legislature, if any case is already in the court, we will never entertain it. If it is already in court, I will get notice that this case is already in court, we will never entertain it because that one is there is going to be conflict. Likewise, if a case is being considered in the plenary, it's like making laws. If we are making laws, or we are raising motions, or we want to make a bill in the plenary, which is already listed, and which we are already talking about, are you telling me that somebody will just rush to now?
But today was the first day of sitting of the ethics committee on Natasha Akpabio.
The ethics committee has already started meeting.
When?
We started. That was around, I think around 1 or 2, because I came in today. I came in around 2.
But the court order came before today.
To us?
When did the Senate?
You don't understand what I'm saying. Already, the issue of the other 6 matter infractions had already been referred, meaning that matter has already started.
But it means that matter has already started. But the ethics committee has not begun its work.
No, it has already started. It has begun.
The process of the probe has not begun.
The day, it is not the day that you are invited to come and talk that a committee has started its work. It's not that day. It's like an election. Is it the day of the election that election starts? No. So the day that matter was referred to the said committee, that's when the committee has started, and it is within the plenary.
Because
and anything within the plenary,
the senator, because the issue,
my brother, like I said,
yeah,
you are learned and you are educated.
Yeah. And
when a matter
is before the Senate, but not before the ethics committee yet.
Already, what is the Senate?
Your first sitting today.
Is the committee not part of Senate? Is it not part of Senate? Is it an outsider? Is it extraneous? This is an interloper. It is part of the Senate. It is the organ of the Senate. So it's not about whether so those people that constitute the committees, are they from whom?
Senator,
or from us, or vendors?
Because what we're hearing from your rank and file in the Senate is that this is like a fait accompli. If the senator does not appear before you, tomorrow there will be a move for a suspension for 3 months. That this is all cooked and planned.
Gosh, that is very, very preposterous. That is very, very preposterous. Look, Senate does not run like that. There is a matter before the committee of the Senate. It's being looked into. Now, all the parties to the matter who are invited. And there will be latitude for you to come, defend yourself. Look, like I said, the Senate is not an animal farm where there are no laws, where there are no rules. Why that it is going to be a rule of the thumb, where I will bring my own rule from Ekiti South Central District. Somebody else will bring his own rule from Kogi West or Kogi Central or Kogi East. No, it is not like that. We have an aggregated rule that we succumb to, and it is constitutional for us.
So, Senator,
that we are going to.
What did you conclude today after the sitting, since Senator Natasha Akpabio?
I presented the case there. I'm not a member of the committee. Why I presented the case was that I was the one who raised the motion last week that the name and the identity of the Senate is brought into disrepute, that is egregiously being bastardized, and that I, as the public affairs and the public affairs man and the spokesperson for the Senate, that I feel very uncomfortable, very perturbed, and that this unscrupulous and stupid degeneration into this kind of neo-anarchy should be stopped. So when I raised it, then the Senate, in its wisdom, decided that, okay, we are going to aggregate everything, because all senators contributed for over an hour. They now said this will be channeled to the relevant committee.
Were you in Akpabio on the said day?
Which said day?
The day Natasha Akpabio. You were not there.
No.
So we are not privy to what happened.
No.
To that day.
No, I was not.
Based on the allegations,
I was not.
There were insinuations.
I don't want to go to the propriety. I don't want to go to the propriety or impropriety of any allegation.
All right. Let me ask you, allegation. It is.
And I'm very happy. And I'm very happy. The second half of the Senate President, who has a fiduciary relationship with the Senate President, has gone to court. That is the wife of the Senate President. But on that day, I was not there. So the propriety of it is not for me to determine. And not only that, even if I were to be there, if what our senator sister put out there.
Senator, there is a big question mark, though, that why will Senator Godswill Akpabio, who is being petitioned in this matter, who is a party to this matter, be the presiding officer? There's a fundamental principle of natural justice and fairness in law. Nemo Judas Inkososua.
Yes,
that you cannot be a judge in your own matter.
In your own matter, yes.
Why did the Senate President sit on that matter?
Even when a judge in a court is being accused or is being alleged, the case will first of all come to that judge. The judge will read out the case before the judge can recuse himself or herself. So Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Senate President, did not suggest what matter of personal interest any senator can bring up. So Senator Natasha brought it up. It was not listed in the other paper, in the business of the day. She brought it up as her own privilege and right, and it was entertained because she sat where she was supposed to sit. And when she brought it, then it had to be read by the presiding officer. And when the presiding officer read it, he constitutionally, statutorily, referred it to the Committee on Ethics.
But the Senator,
that's what you should do. So it is the only time
Senator spoke.
The only time
extensively on the matter. Why the presiding officer was still there?
The only time,
which is against the fundamentals of the principle of natural justice and fairness.
When Senator spoke, it was not trial. When Senator spoke, it was not trial.
Opinions are being shared.
Opinions are personal. It's not the Committee on Ethics.
Not part of
it's not the Committee on Ethics, which is saddled statutorily.
But
it is only the report of the committee.
So if you think that the Senate President shouldn't have recused himself, for allow any other, he is not the only presiding officer. He has a deputy. Just remember, Senator, if I may land on my question,
okay.
There are those who also think that in other climes, in the Senate climes, they say that the Senate President shouldn't be sitting as a presiding officer. He would have naturally had resigned from his position without weighty allegations of sexual harassment of a colleague.
Ogasio, let me tell you something. Like I told you, that when the matter comes to the court and then the judge is being alleged, the judge will first of all read it out before he keeps it himself. Now, that is when the case is going to trial. Not the day that the judge reads it out. Now, whenever any petition, any matter, any motion, any bill comes to the floor of the Senate, members, senators are bound to talk. They are bound to debate. They are bound to talk about it. And if what they have said are enough, those matters would not be referred to any committee again. But because what they contribute, what they say are not enough, that's why that matter is now referred to a committee. And it is the committee report that can be sacrosanct. It's not the personal opinion of a senator. It's not what I believe. It's not what I think. It's not the way I see it or the way I do not see it. So, in that wise, the Senate president did not need to recuse himself because there was no trial. So it is, if they had tried today when the committee on ethics met and then they called people that were supposed to come and give evidences there, the Senate president was not there.
Senator, so the question I'm asking is, morally speaking, on a moral ground, if you were accused of sexual assault, harassment, or whatever, would you still be sitting there in the public office where the principles of morality are being called to question, Senator?
If somebody alleges me, and wrongly for that matter, though, if somebody alleges and I'm the head of that place, I will read it out. I will refer it.
Would you step aside, Senator?
Until when there is trial. When trial is on.
The matter has gone to ethics.
No, when the matter has gone to ethics, the ethics committee has not started any trial. And today, the ethics committee made a pronouncement. And what is the pronouncement? The pronouncement is that what Senator Natasha did is infraction upon infraction. Section 40 of our standing order stated that before you can present a petition, you are not going to be the one who will sign it and present it. Somebody else is supposed to
Senator,
supposed to make the petition, and then another senator is supposed to.
Senator, give me a moment, because there are a lot of Nigerians who are really worried, especially those
they should not get worried.
Just for a moment, those
women
advocates are worried about this, and so tonight I want you to listen. I want you to listen to one of the women advocates. Just for a moment, Engineer Stella Okengu is live with us. She's the CEO of Win Homes. She's live for us virtually. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. And let me allow you to speak briefly, quickly, before we go on a break about this matter. What happened today, Ms. Okengo? What are your views of what happened today?
What happened today is repugnant. That is how I'm going to describe it. Because it seems as if our Senate ganged up against Natasha. What, in my own advice to the Senate president, I think that for the fact that Natasha said that accused him of any sexual allegation, what he's supposed to do is to recuse himself, stand aside, so that this case, she said she has the proof. They should allow her to bring out the proof. I remember when Dino Maleye and the wife of the president's case, that Dino said, "I can impregnate you." That's sexualizing. What's Nigeria turning into? What's Nigeria turning into? I mean, America, if you check, 95% of women in Nigeria has gone through this abuse. And most of them cannot talk, because if they talk, how are they going to listen to them? How will you know that somebody will want to abuse you sexually? Some people will tell you, bring evidence. What evidence when a man will meet you and, except if it's planned, in a same country that we are in, what we expect is for the Senate president to step aside and allow this investigation to go on. Nobody is above the law, Sheun. You're a lawyer. And Mr. Yemi is the Senate Speaker. Honorable Yemi.
Thank you, my sister.
Imagine that if this is your wife and this is happening, what are you going to say? Won't you step aside? Won't you advise that person in question to step aside? Apart from being an engineer or I have business in Nigeria, I'm a juror in United States.
Let me ask you. Yes. Let me just for a moment, Senator. Let me ask you, Madam Okengo. Just for a moment.
When someone says
you said no, just for a moment. You said that it does look like there is a disrespect and honor given to the women folk in the National Assembly. And this, you made reference to past years. What would you say should have been done? What processes or what procedures would you say should have been done to give the woman in the National Assembly their rightful place, a place of honor?
Yes. What I advise is for them to form an independent committee that will look into this and come out with the right judgment.
Apart from the ethics committee that this was being referred to.
Yeah, they should form another committee, an independent committee that will involve 50% of men and 50% of women. The two politicians that spoke, the two women that spoke about her, does not represent us as women. They don't.
Does it give you and your colleagues a fear that the woman is an endangered political species? Is that the kind of feeling that you have?
That's the feeling I have, not that. That's the feeling I have because I experienced it firsthand in Nigeria when I came for my business. A political appointee abused me in front of the whole world. Nobody could come. I had to. It's like all the press, has been shut down. They can't even exhibit their rights as press journalists.
Let me allow Senator Adaramodu to respond to some of these. You see the feeling. You see the feeling without having to.
My sister, let me thank you very much. Well, let me tell you something. I'm speaking on behalf of the Senate, including Senator Natasha. I'm not exposed person to only one senator. And I'm aggregating that every society is ruled by law and statutes. And I would have expected my sister to tell us that, is it appropriate for a senator, either you are a man or a woman, to disobey the rules, the statutes, the orders of the organization that he or she belongs to? And then when that one happens, we cannot even tell that person that obey first, and then you can now maybe if you have anything to bring up. And even after obedience,
is that the same way you treat the men?
Yes, it's the same way. Look, in the Senate, Senator Abdul Nigi is a man. When he said something about the Senate, and the Senate was very uncomfortable, and it brought the reputation of the Senate to this report. There was a kind of discipline meted to him. Later, it was rescinded. He was a man, not a woman.
Just for a moment.
Now, besides that, in the National Assembly.
Yeah, just for a moment. Give me a moment. Okay. I'm due for a break, and I'll bring you back, Mr. Okengo, and we'll wrap up the conversation. We'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll conclude our conversation. So much, everyone, for staying with us. Our concluding moment now on this matter, Ms. Okengo, who is an engineer, has been speaking with us, and Senator Adeyemi Adaramodu has been also speaking on the situation, and they said, let's wrap up this conversation now. And there is a huge damage to the reputation of the Senate, and I'm not sure the reputation of the Senate has ever been in the mud as it's being. I can't even remember even the first, second, or third Republic this kind of situation has happened in the Senate. Senator Godswill Akpabio, who is the leader, the chair of the National Assembly, and the Senate President, who is now being accused of sexual harassment. How do you hope to repair the image of the Senate?
Well, the image of the Senate is intact. I have not seen anything that is very inimical. The only thing is that, like I said, it's just a mere hoax. And then, like I said earlier, it's just content creation. And then when there's content creation, the media will feast on it. That is what is happening. In any crime, even outside Nigeria, there have always been maybe little uproar here and there, little brouhaha up here and there, because we are all human beings. So everybody has reasons of being in the Senate, and then be it political, be it social, be it in whatever form. So some people, like our younger generation, will say they are catching their cruise. I see this one as that. Maybe our own senator sister is just catching
on the pain of that senator.
Yes,
yes. She's pained about what is going on.
Look, let me tell you something.
Imagine that there are things that
if it is not so, we are not going to be witnessing friction against the rules, one after the other. Order 6 was fractured by her. Order 40 sub 4 was fractured by her.
What part of Order 40 was?
Order 40, when you are submitting any petition, you must not be the one who will sign it, that will present it.
So she shouldn't have presented her own.
Yes, it's there by herself, signed by herself. Another
so on a technical ground, a petition has been
not technical. It is illegal. It means that you are not sure. It means that nobody can uphold it for you.
So you think there is a procedural error?
Yes, there is.
The petition she laid today.
There is, yes. It's procedural.
But is there a possible way that you can politically resolve this matter? Politically. It's getting dirty.
Politically?
Yeah.
What's dirty?
Politically. Look, can you resolve this politically, Senator?
Yes, we will resolve it.
We will
resolve it. We will resolve it. I tell you, we will resolve it. Before this Senate, there had been a time that a Senate president was even accused of maybe bulletproof this thing, even a code of conduct bureau, which is very, very heinous. Even murder, something that had to do with robbery and so on and so forth, which is even more dangerous and more somehow perilous than this one. And then it was sorted out. And this one is not.
Because the plan to suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for 3 months is in the offing. That's what we hear. I mean,
who told you that?
When I'm speaking as a political journalist, you know that I'm not flippant. I'm asking you.
From where
if you are politically going to resolve this matter.
The committee of ethics had been saddled. When the committee will bring its report to the whole house, and when the report comes, then we will debate the committee exhaustively. And then we now take a position. And not only that, finally, to my sister, to my very good sister, to my very great sister, I can understand her passion. In the Senate, the 4 senators that are female that are there, they are heading committees that have relevance with the day-to-day life of Nigerians. Humanitarian, health services, women affairs, and even our sister who had hitherto been in local content, now in foreign affairs, diaspora, and the CSOs, the NGOs and CSOs. So I think the Senate has treated the women folk.
Let me allow Ms. Okengo. Just a moment, Senator.
And again,
this is not a man's show. There's Ms. Okengo on there. How do you hope that this can be resolved? And I'm pushing for a political resolution because things are getting dirty. Ms. Okengo, how do you think that this can be resolved, though?
Why I'm passionate about this, Mr. Sheung, is there is Natasha in every one of us. Like I mentioned, 95% of women, but has been sexualized in Nigeria, even till today.
There's a Natasha, there's somebody.
No, let her. You are breaching the rights of Ms. Okengo. She's a woman. Let her speak, please. Just a moment, Senator. No, you're obstructing. Just Senator, you're obstructing her from speaking her mind. Go ahead, please.
Yes,
Senator, would you just a moment? You are ruled out of order, Senator.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, I'm not on Nigeria Senate. I don't know how it works, but I am talking on.
Senator, you are ruled out of order again, yet again. You are obstructing. If I were the Senate Chief Whip, I would have moved you out of the chamber. Go ahead, ma.
Can I? You are. What I'm saying is that I don't know how it works. I don't know how I'm just talking on a layman language. How this can be resolved is there should be a bill that is supposed to be passed on women's rights, and I don't know how you people are going to coin it, but on sexualizing women in Nigeria, because it's getting too much. It's like a child's play now. Like men does it without. Look, I have a case in Nigeria that involves sexual harassment, but people told me I should concentrate on the subject matter, because if I say that, it's going to overwhelm my matter.
All right. Engineer Stella, okay, thank you so much. CEO Andy.
Honorable Yemi, you have a wife.
Yes.
Everybody there have a wife.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you for free that some of the things your wife go through, she might not be able to come into the house and say it to you. I'm telling you, it's happening for real. I'm a woman.
We've got to go, gentlemen and lady. We've got to go because we're totally out of time. So, Engineer Stella, Senator Aderamadu, thank you so much.
I excuse my sister. She said she's a layman. So, and then let us put it at that. Those of us who are not laymen, we have already told her how
this is how far we can go. We're totally out of time.
Thank you.
But thank you so much, gentlemen and lady. I appreciate it. That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Akimale. God bless Nigeria.